It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Walla Walla Wolves head volleyball coach, Coach Kiana Krumm. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college volleyball?
I think as soon as I started coaching and I kind of started falling in love with it, I realized I kind of wanted to get to the higher level. And basically, 5 years ago or so, I realized I wanted to coach college.
What was that experience like going to college and competing in collegiate volleyball?
I think it was everything to me. I mean, growing up, you go to watch college games and you're like, I want to be there. So playing college volleyball was really like a dream to me. My coaches were great. I got, lifelong friends out of it. And I just feel like I really came out of my shell and was able to learn so much and basically just improve a lot throughout my 4 years in college. So it was just really amazing.
What was that experience like getting to put on that uniform in college and representing your your collegiate team?
Yeah, so I went to La Sierra University. I think one of the best parts about putting on that jersey was that, we were kind of the underdogs in the conference, but we tended to surprise, so that was always exciting. My freshman year, we were just a bunch of freshmen, just super, super young class, freshmen, sophomores, I think one junior and one senior, and nobody was expecting us to do anything. We ended up taking fourth in conference, so it wasn't the best. And then when we went to the playoffs, we ended up winning the championship. So, and then getting our bid to nationals. So it was like kind of just showing you, the underdog, the team that works hard, just a bunch of gung-ho freshmen that just want to win, sometimes that can happen. So that was really exciting.
For you, what was that experience like going to the tournament and going all the way far?
I didn't get to the end tournament. We just got into that first round, that opening round, and we ended up losing against Biola University in I think 4 sets. So I've never been to the national tournament as a player. So one day I'm hoping to get there as a coach.
For you, what was that experience like coming out of college and competing professionally?
I think going from playing NAIA to going to play pro was a big step. It's very, very intense, and I had a lot to learn. I think just in my first season, I went to play Division 1 in Argentina. I was playing with girls that had played on the national team and against girls on the national team from Argentina, and I just learned so much. Like my level of play went from here to here, my volleyball IQ, mental toughness, everything. So I think playing professionally, especially for your first season, has a lot of ups and downs, but I'm just so grateful for it. And I feel like it helped me a lot as a player and a coach.
How was that experience like for you as a player, getting to travel to countries like Argentina and Spain and getting to compete?
I love it. I'm half Argentinian. My husband's from Argentina. So, that's kind of how I got into that. And then Spain is just somewhere I also studied there, and it's always somewhere I've loved to visit. So getting to travel throughout Argentina, because when you're playing, and then same thing with Spain, you don't really get to see the places that you're going because you travel, you play, you sleep, then you leave. But I always tried to stay a couple weeks before, a couple weeks after season so that I could do some sightseeing, some touristy stuff. So I loved it, honestly.
What was that experience like for you getting to compete professionally in overseas, and how did that help you into your coaching journey?
I think it helped me recognize different styles of play. Playing for the same coaches in college, you have a specific style, and it's a style that might work for your conference, but then it might not work when you're playing in different leagues or things like that. So overseas, there was a huge, huge emphasis in out of system, like counterattack, defense. And yes, service eve, of course, we practice service eve, an hour, 2 hours every single day, 6 days a week. But I think once you get to a higher level, all the teams are really, really good in system. So it's the teams that are good out of system that start to stand out. So I think learning that and then implementing that into my style of coaching is something that has helped my team at Walla Walla a lot.
For you, what was that experience like getting to own your own volleyball club, the KD Internationals?
Yeah, so my husband and I, we were doing private lessons in California, where I'm originally from. And he was like, well, we should probably just make a business out of this. So we ended up calling it KD International Volleyball Academy, Kiana, and then his name is Danelle. And we just started doing private lessons, tons of private lessons, which turned into private groups, which turned into clinics. And then eventually we started doing camps. So we did a camp in California. We've done probably about two or three. We did a camp in Tennessee, and now we're kind of expanding this summer. We're going to California, Tennessee, Georgia, and Oregon, and Washington. Obviously, we're doing a camp here too. So it's kind of just, expanded into that, and we absolutely love it because we've had athletes that we've worked with since they were, you know, 11, 12 years old, and now we're seeing them get into college or getting offers for college, which is crazy. And one of my KD athletes is actually coming to play for me here at Walla Walla. So I'm really excited about that.
What has that experience been like as an owner of the camps, getting to see the collegiate athletes going on and competing collegiately?
Yeah, I think that is really, really special. Just because I loved watching them absorb so much information when they were younger and then just keep getting better and better and trying to like that, facilitate that love of the sport and just really seeing that come to fruition and playing college volleyball, which we all know is it's huge. It's the dream for a lot of these athletes. So I think it's just really satisfying and it makes me really proud. I've yet to, have a girl that has gone from like 13 and gotten to 18. I've gone to her college game yet because I haven't been coaching that long. But I'm excited for when I get invited to one of those.
For you, what was that transition like going from being a private teacher, tutor, volleyball to getting into college coaching?
Um, I think going from teaching private lessons and private groups into college is obviously different, but I also coached a lot of teams at the clubs I used to work at. I worked at Empower Volleyball Club, I worked at Pipeline Volleyball Club, and I worked at the club in Almeria in Spain where I had three teams as well. So I think coaching the team sport and then also having the private lessons and the groups, it kind of all works together in college because in college we do a lot of like technical, tactical, focused work and a lot of group volume type work. So just kind of combining it at a higher level has been really, really fun.
Coming to Wawa, what was that experience like becoming the next head coach for them?
I mean, I was very excited to be the new head coach. I think it was a challenge because I didn't come in until July 15. That was when they hired me. I had gotten hired before, but that was like my start day and season starts on August 1st. So it's very hard to have a whole group of girls to build a whole new culture, to learn, technique, to learn plays, to get all of the volume and the contact that you need, all within 2 weeks before season started. Um, so that was definitely a challenge. And I think it's going to be even better going into this next year because now we've been preparing, starting spring season, going hard in the weight room, culture, team bondings, and things like that that are really going to help unify us as a team. And then I, as a coach, also have recruited in my own new players for this next season. A couple have come in the spring, and obviously there's going to be 6 or 7 coming in the fall. So it's kind of like now I can build my own culture here.
How does it feel the first time you stepped onto that court for the first time as a head coach?
I honestly don't remember how it felt. I'm sure I was very excited and I'm sure I was nervous. I think my first game as head coach in conference was against LC State over LC. We ended up losing that game, but we played well, so we knew we just had to make some changes. So then, second time around when we played them a week later, we ended up beating them, which was really exciting. So I definitely remember that game, just that, euphoric, like, oh, my first win as a college coach. So that was really awesome.
For you, as you said, what was that feeling like the first time you got a win as a head coach?
I think it was just really satisfying and made me really proud of the girls because we had been telling them, this is something that you can do. It's in our control. So, let's just do it. Let's work. And our strategies worked. The girls worked incredibly hard. It doesn't matter what you do if your girls aren't executing that, and they absolutely did. They played together as a team. Um, it was amazing. So I don't know. I just feel like it was very satisfying to get our first win.
How's that been like getting to build the coaching staff around you and the players around you?
Yeah, it's been great. Coming in, I was coming in with a team already built, which I love them. But then also me bringing in my own players is really exciting because it's kind of like, you're building your own program, how you want it to look and how you want your team to do. And also, of course, my assistant coach, who he's really my co-coach because we do the same amount of work, is my husband, Danelle. And we've been coaching together for 5 or 6 years now. So it really just kind of fell into place that way. And we have very similar coaching styles. So we complement each other in that way. Um, he's very good at, technical things or tactical things. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll split up, he'll look at this side of the court, I'll look at this side of the court. Or in practices, I'll take outsides and right sides and he'll take liberos or he'll take middles and setters and kind of vice versa. So I think that our style of play just really complements each other as well as our coaching style.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you started to build for the volleyball program?
Yeah, I think a huge part of the culture that we're trying to build is just athletes that are very passionate and love volleyball, just like we do, because volleyball is our life. Athletes that realize that for a lot of them, this is their professional volleyball because they're not going to be playing professional afterwards. It's like this is where they have reached, and so what we need to do is take it seriously. I took it very seriously when I was in college. My teammates did as well. So kind of building that passionate, hardworking, focusing on the team before yourself. So, this is a team sport. So we're playing for our team, we're playing for our teammates, and we're playing for the girl next to you. You're not playing for yourself necessarily. So just trying to build that culture and then learning how to win because Walla Walla came off of a losing streak. Not great record in conference. I think it's hard to learn how to win and to push, push, push super hard. You can't just push for the first set or the second set. You have to push the whole time. So trying to build that culture is tough, but it's exciting, and the girls have been responding really well to it.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
There's 12 teams in our conference. A couple of them are Southern Oregon, Eastern Oregon, College of Idaho, Bushnell, Northwest, Lewis Clark State, Warner Pacific. There's a bunch of them. But it's a very, very exciting and very competitive conference. That's why I absolutely love it.
What is that atmosphere like when teams like Lewis and Clark comes to home versus going to Southern Oregon?
Um, our home games are super fun. I always say if we could vote like best fans or best school, it would definitely be Walla Walla. We've had games where we have 300, 400 people, especially if it's a Saturday night game because it's a weekend and it's a small town, so a lot of people come out to watch. So I think I and my girls would agree that playing at home is we love it. They usually have events, before or after for the students. And it's just fun to be able to play in front of your peers and your friend and family. A lot of times they'll bring signs or they'll wear their shirts with their faces on it and things like that. So it definitely gets pretty exciting at home. And then away games, I personally love going to away games because it's just fun to see the other school stadiums and things like that and where they play. I think we have a great gym, but a lot of the other schools have great gyms as well. Playing against Northwest is always exciting because they have a tiny gym, so all the fans are just right there in your face, so it's super loud. So I think every gym just brings its own different atmosphere, and it's our job to adjust to that.
What are some of your game day routines and rituals like preparing for game day
For me or for my players?
for you?
Well, when I was a player, I had to eat the same breakfast every morning. Huge, huge bowl of oatmeal with, peanut butter, protein, and fruit and things like that. I always go with a huge breakfast to start. And then I have like a light lunch before I play, and you're kind of visualizing, trying to mentally get into that game. I think as a student athlete, it was tougher because we had classes before our game, so you kind of had to switch into that. And I think the best way to switch into it is your warm up, kind of doing the same warm up that you always do, telling your brain, like, okay, we're getting into game mode.
As a head coach, what are some of your routines and rituals like now?
I think most of the time I'm just watching film the whole day before, the whole day of the game. Um, just because I like, my husband and I like to have all of our notes and everything ready, and it's just good to have that other team fresh in your head. So I feel like routine wise, as a coach, I don't really, I'm starting to learn one, but right now it's just kind of manic game watching, film watching.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play?
Yeah, definitely. Recruitment wise, I think, we found recruits from a lot of different places. Some are players that, I've coached before, or players that played at clubs around where I used to coach, just because my home base was in California. Obviously, all the recruiting platforms, it's always really helpful when a student sends me an email, a very specific email, not just like a mass email that's sent out through a company. It's nice to get emails like, hey, I'm interested in Walla Walla because of this program. I am this high. This is my GPA. This is the position I play. A little something about myself. And then here's my highlight and my uncut film. So I think that's a good way to find athletes. Um, Contacts is important. We brought in two girls from Argentina for this spring, and one of them was just a friend of a friend, a coach. And we're like, do you know anyone? And he knew someone, and so we brought her. And the other girl, we actually found her on Instagram because she went viral. So never underestimate the power of social media because she went viral attacking a ball. So we contacted her and it worked out.
What is that like getting to recruit those international students, like in Argentina, versus recruiting students that are domestically?
Well, I think it's a bit tougher to recruit international students because there's a huge process to be able to come here and it's very expensive. And the visa process and everything. So you're kind of holding your breath. Are they going to get their visa or not? So I think recruiting internationally is challenging, but at the same time, it's so rewarding. And these girls are coming and they're making it their home and their family. And my husband and I are here for that. We're 100% supportive. I have four international girls on my team, and it's like they come home all the time, have them over for dinner, and they find family here because their family is 10-hour plane ride away. So I think it's just really special, especially because I was an international student and I played overseas, so I understand, the importance of that.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen putting on that Wawa jersey for the first time?
Um, That's a great question. So coming in this next year, I'm going to have a lot of freshmen. I had a couple last year. Um, and I think it's just exciting to see a freshman, get onto the court, maybe for the first time. Maybe they didn't play a few games and now they're getting on because they give so much energy and the crowd usually goes crazy, which is super fun. And then like every point they make or anytime they touch the ball, everybody on the bench is like freaking out. So I think that's probably my favorite part about watching freshmen, like the first time they get on the court.
How is that experience like, as you said, getting to see them achieve those first big milestones as freshmen?
It makes me so proud of them. Um, I feel like coming in as a freshman is tough just because you're coming into maybe a culture that's already set or like when I went in as a freshman, I wasn't expecting to play at all. And then if you actually get that chance, it's so exciting and it's a chance just to prove yourself and to give everything that you have. So as a coach, seeing a freshman hit those milestones or I don't know, we're working on hitting the line or something like that, and they finally do it the right way, or the way that I've been teaching them, because there's lots of right ways, obviously. It's just really exciting and it makes you really proud and at their hard work and all the things they're accomplishing. And you're like, wow, we still have 4 more years of this. This is awesome.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those seniors putting on that uniform for the last time for Wawa?
Yeah, so we talked about this before the interview about how I haven't had any seniors yet because last year was my first year. Um, but I do have two seniors this year coming up. I actually have a couple more than that, some transfers coming in, but I know that it's going to be very hard for me because I have grown very attached. So it's going to be, yeah, really tough seeing them wearing that jersey for the last time. I think I'll probably cry. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine what it's going to be like. I know as a senior, when I put on my last jersey and played my last game, I did the final prayer at the end. I got through the prayer and then I made it back to the locker room and it was just like tears, everybody, all because there was like five seniors were all hugging each other, super sad. Just realizing, wow, that was it. So it was hard, but yeah, it is what it is.
For you as a coach in the future, what will that feel like to see your players going on and playing professional volleyball like you have?
Um, I think, I mean, I have some contacts overseas, so I have told a couple of the girls, if you're interested, I'd be happy to make those connections for you because really it's about putting yourself out there. Um, I think I will watch all their games if they go to play overseas, and I'm just going to be so excited to follow them and just so proud and happy to have been part of their journey, and kind of helping them, get to that point or even just encouraging them because sometimes we're scared to take that step. And so I just want girls to know like it never hurts to try. Like go try. Maybe the first season doesn't go great. Try again, try to go for that second season or even the third season or just keep going. If you really love volleyball and you feel like you can dedicate that time um, to playing professionally overseas, then you should definitely go for it.
What have been some of the things you've been able to accomplish so far?
Um, For Walla Walla, we actually made history, so we're very excited about that. We were the first team in the history of the university since they joined the CCC conference to get to playoffs. So we were really excited. We also happened to break all the records in like how many games we had won because we did go 9-16, so not necessarily a winning record, but I think we broke that record because the team that had got before us had maybe got 8 wins at the university. And then I guess breaking the volleyball records were easy because the most games they had ever won was like 3 or 4. So we were able to beat that record as well. Um, and then I'm very proud of a lot of my players, but one that really stands out is Sahara Browning because she ended up being number one in our conference in kills. She had over 400 kills this season. She was number 5 in the nation in kills per set, and she was number 2 in serving. She could have been number 1 if we had started her top spin serve at the beginning of season. We didn't start it till towards the end, but yeah, I think there was a lot of records that were broken for sure.
What was that experience like for you as a coach getting to take your team to the tournament?
Um, it was definitely exciting because our entire goal for the season was to make it to playoffs. Our conference is big, we have 12 teams. So the final tournament, I think is for the top 4, top 6 teams. I can't remember. So we ended up making it into the first round against College of Idaho, and we had played College of Idaho before, so we know how they play. They're a very good team. So really we were just prepping for that and mentally prepping for that. So, going there and finally being able to say, we're in the postseason, it's so exciting. It was a really great experience.
What are some of your future plans and goals for the program moving forward?
Well, as a coach, the future goals and plans are always to win. So we're trying to win the conference. It's a lofty goal. Um, we always are going to set goals for ourselves. So the first goal was to make it to playoffs. Our second goal is going to be, make it to top 4, top 5, and then we're just going to keep trying to go up from there.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college volleyball?
Hmm. Advice for incoming freshmen. I think just leave it all out on the court and just really be supportive of your teammates. And I think sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking going into, a team that's already set or a team with all juniors and seniors. But I think it's important to realize like they're going to love you anyways. They're going to be like your older sisters. So just, go in being yourself and go in ready to ball out and give everything that you have to your team because they're going to respond the same way.
What advice would you give those seniors that have aspirations of playing professionally?
Keep working hard, keep going for it, keep trying to better yourself constantly. When I decided I was going to go play overseas, I was in the gym every day. I was getting, reps with my husband. He was like, okay, I'm bad at hitting this out of system ball from this specific angle. You're just going to give me 100 of those. Or I'm bad at hitting the pipe that's a little bit, over to the left, which we call a 7. So we're just going to go into the gym and do 100 of those. And I'm going to mess up a bunch of times until I start to get it right. So just put in the extra work and believe in yourself that you can do it because if you want to play at the next level, there's so many leagues overseas. Now there's a couple leagues here in the States. But like you don't always have to go D1. A lot of people go D4, D3, D2, and then they eventually make their way up to D1. When I went to Spain, I went to D2. And it was still a great, great level of play, a little bit higher than the NAIA level. So anything's possible if you work hard enough.
What advice would you give those players that have aspirations of getting into coaching?
I had a coach my 15th year of club and then again my 17th year. And I guess he asked all of us, like, does any one of you want to be a coach when you get older? And there was two of us that raised our hand, like, yeah, I think I'd like to get into coaching. And so he kind of started taking us under his wing, um, teaching us things, and then inviting us to actually go to like his 12 or 13s tournament just to kind of assistant coach him and help him out. So I think what he did there was really awesome, and it kind of helped my love for coaching start to grow. Um, so I think if I have a player that's interested in coaching, I'm planning on doing kind of the same thing.
What advice would you give those future head coaches that are looking to build their own volleyball program?
Um, I think don't be afraid to like reach out to people. Like in my case, Vicky, the Argentinian girl we brought. I mean, imagine she was a girl that my husband found on Instagram because he was following a club in Argentina, and he reached out, and it turns out her dream has always been to play college volleyball in the US. So sometimes you're going to get lucky. So it never hurts to ask. Um, and realistically sell them how your program is and what the life at the school is going to look like to see if it would be a good fit. So yeah, just reach out.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media along with the program at?
On social media, I'm on Instagram. It's at Kiana Krumm, so just my name. And then the Walla Walla Wolves, volleyball wolves, I think it is, for the Walla Walla Instagram.
Thank you again, Coach Kiana Krumm, for your interview, and best luck in your future at Walla Walla as the head volleyball coach.
Thanks, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach, for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Great. Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.